Yes, dairy farming.
All right, everybody. Whistle, whistle. That's my whistle. Whistle, whistle. My brother's never taught me that. I'm Betty Kelly. I'm the president of the Library Association Board, and I want to thank you for coming. I think this is going to be really good. Before we start, I have some announcements to make. The first one is, I should have rehearsed this, I didn't. We are taking applications for being on our board. We are 1 or 2 members shy. If you are interested, you need to talk to either myself or Jill, who is standing in the back, or Roger, who is going to stand up or not. Stand up, Roger. Who else? He's back there. Roger, Chris Murphy is here. Mary Stukenberg, who is our newest member, is in the back.
It's a really fun board and there's plenty of money.
What we do, 2 things that we do is we have the tea twice a year. You're at one of them. We'll have another one in April. If you have ideas for someone you would like to hear speak, please let me know, or any of the board members. We also put out, look, I have my little,
I love it.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Ex Libris, and we put this out twice a year as well. The rest of the time, we give money to help whatever the library is doing. We've started sponsoring authors who have come to town to sell their books, giving them a helping hand, usually in conjunction with the Community Foundation. We meet every other month for an hour. As you noticed, I started at 2 o'clock. I'm an old theater person, and time is money. We start on time. Thank you. End on time. So what's going to happen is John is going to talk, and then you're going to ask questions. And then when everybody's done, we're going to stand up and have treats over here, savory and sweet snacks and fruit. If you want a cookie in the little wooden bowl instead of the plastic, whatever, those are gluten-free cookies, and my dad made the bowl. There's tea in the back, so make yourself happy. When I first met John, it was because I was costuming with his wife, Debbie, and I came over to their studio, which they live in an art studio, and the mock-up for the tree was in the studio, which just blew me away. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. And then here we are, X number of years later. I don't do math. John's going to talk about how it all happened and what happened. So this is Jon Hudson. He doesn't talk loud. So I told him to project. If he runs out, he's going to whisper in my ear, and I'm going to project because I know how to do that.
It's okay to turn the light off for
Yeah.
projectors.
Yes. Gotta do lighting.
Very good, we'll start. I guess I should introduce by saying that a group of locals wanted to have a sculpture by me locally. And the group was Frida and Erwin Abrams. I know her name, it'll come up. Frank Metcher, Paul Cooper, and she lives down.
Clue, give us a clue.
Sounds like
Kate Curley.
Kate Curley. They inspired raise money, commission the fees, and it became part of the library. I guess they focused on having it at the library. And it wasn't gonna be a tree of books, it was just gonna be a sculpture. But given the library and what the village is, full of writers, teachers, and educators, and engineers, and they're all creative people. And we're surrounded, inundated with trees, and books are made from trees. So it all sort of came together, it's trees and books. And so that's how I started working on it. Now, this is the plan, and it was done by Roger Beal and Reed V. Meister. And Gary Stutzman, I guess, did the actual gardening for it. So this is where the tree is, right there. So this is the first iteration of the maquette, just using pieces of plywood cut in book shapes. It's kind of your dead tree motif. So do we want that? No. So I was driving along one day trying to figure a better solution. And I remember the hurricane or tornado in The Wizard of Oz. And that gave me the idea to do this. So the trunk, like our catalpa trees, you know, the trunk is so twisted in a vortex. So that's how I came to that idea. And then the foliage books are sort of spinning off the top. So that's how it came into being. If you have a question during, you know, if what I say brings up a question, just raise your hand or something.
John?
Yes, sir.
Is what we're looking at the wooden mock-up?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it was about 2 feet high. Roughly.
What year was that? Well, it says 91 on the picture here.
Good. I think we might have started in 90, because it was a 2-year, it took 2 years to get it installed, and so we installed in 92. So I think it was about 2 years, yeah. Okay, so what I got a stack of books from the
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood book collections. And some of them were ancient medical books and just whatever. And so I created the trunk of actual books.
Oh, they're inside?
Yeah, they're inside. You can kind of see them up at the top. I was not very good at keeping record of doing the project. I was too busy doing it to think about records. But, so I got the real books, and then we put a latex mold around it. And then you cut it into parts, and then you take the latex. Let's see what, okay, you see a little more of the latex there. So once you've got your latex mold, then you put plaster around it. Actually, this is a little earlier, I'm sorry, this should have been earlier.
So the white is plaster on top of the tan latex?
The books, the real books you see above, I must have sprayed it with like a silver paint or something so the latex would not stick to the books. This down here is where I'm starting to do the latex. And then once, let's see what we have, okay. Once we have the latex on the books, then you cover that with plaster. And that gives it the support, the structure to hold it together so it just doesn't collapse. Because once you take your latex off of the books, it's pretty flexible. But then once you've got those, your latex and your plaster, then you pour in the wax. And the wax, you build up about approximately a quarter inch thick wax inside the latex mold. And then you take the wax out of the latex. And then you take the wax and put it in the liquid investment. And that, you build that up until it becomes very thick, and then you bake that.
Sorry, what's liquid investment? What happened to the
It's
books?
a clay. It's a clay, a form of clay. And so you've got let's see, you've got your wax inside the investment. And then you take that and put it upside down in the oven and bake it. And that's why it's called the lost wax process, because it melts out the wax. And in doing so, you have the void inside the clay form where the wax once was. So now that you've got this void inside the clay mold, now you pour in your bronze, and the bronze fills in the void inside that.
And who's that person in the photo?
I'm not sure, it's one of the guys helping me.
Oh.
So once the bronze is cooled, then you break off the investment. So that's why bronze is so expensive. It's so labor intensive. It's just a lot of work.
And where did you have the bronze? Did you do yourself the bronze, or do you have a foundry where you go and?
I found the nearest foundry I could find to do a big piece like this was in Indianapolis, on the east side of Indianapolis. And they did a very nice job. And you see it's about 8 feet high. And so the trunk was made the wax was cut into 5 sections. Because you can't, normally you don't cast it too large, because it depends on the size of crucible you have. So here it is, all covered with wax, or with plaster.
How did you get the books out?
Well, when you got your latex on the books, and then you cover it with the wax, the plaster. So you put in shims between the sections of, say, 4 sides. It's got 4 sides. So at the corners, I would put shims. So I could take the 4 sides off of the books. And then put it back together again. So then we just had to throw the books away because they were useless. So here's the bronze.
So the detail was because of the latex. Because
Yes.
there's so many details.
Exactly. The latex is very fine, soft rubber. And so you get the texture of the pages. Some of the old medical books on the base, you can still read it, the writing, you see the leather texture. So it's really neat how you get such great texture. So I think the blue weld lines are the different sections. So what you do is step back a second. At the foundry, you have your wax units, the 5 wax sections. So I would work on the wax and make sure it was all clean. The pages were clean and the corners were clean. There wasn't not any extra wax. And then they would cast it. And then once you get the bronze parts out, you chase them, you clean them up. And then once you weld it together, then you have to chase the welds down and make them look like the pages of the book and that sort of thing, whatever shape or texture it happens to be. So that too is a lot of work.
Quick question again.
Yes.
The different sections, there's got to be some sort of a thought that goes into how you divide these in different sections.
The foundry just determined that, given it was maybe 8 feet high, that they would cast roughly 20 inches approximately, because of the size of their crucible is so much bronze, and so you can only pour so much each time. So that would be the determining aspect.
So how do they get reattached to each other?
Welded. You TIG weld the bronze, and you use a bronze filler rod. And so, once it's welded together and then you chase that down, you don't see, I don't think I can even find where it was welded, because we chased it down.
So I just heard somebody asking if it's solid inside, or is it empty?
No,
I mean,
it's-
it's board, there's a
The
board.
shell is about, or the wall is
Bronze.
about a quarter inch roughly, and so it's totally empty.
Okay.
To make it solid, it would have costed a lot of money.
Yeah. They couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, it would be a waste of bronze.
Yes.
It looks like I've done most of the chasing on this. I don't see any of that blue color from the welding. So this may have been at the point where I chased it all down and was ready to go to the next step. Yeah, here it is on the table. This should have been before that photograph. You see the blue lines for the welding. So this is how I would have chased it down and done all the work on the texturing, cleaning up the welds and that sort of thing. So I think it seems to me it was, I can't quite remember, but it was somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 pounds worth of bronze. It was heavy.
How do you chase the wells?
Well, it's a combination. If it's too big a weld, then you can do some grinding with a grinding disc. But then, once you get to the texturing, I have a whole bunch of different, like a nail punch. I have a whole bunch of different ones of those that I've got different textures in the point of them. And files, and that's pretty much it. And whatever can impart a texture on the bronze, a hammer, or a file, or something like that, something that's harder but got a texture. And so you just play with working it. If you ever see any Marino Marini horses in the museum, he has wonderful textures and patinas on his horses.
And so working on the welding gets rid of the blue tint.
Well, the blue tint is a result of the welding because of the heat. It's a heat result. And so as I chase it down and sand it and clean it,
That gets
file
rid of
it, then the blue
Okay,
gets worn off.
okay.
Would you mind going back to the back slide, the slide before that, so they can see after it's been chased? There, okay.
Yeah, that's it. That would have been the finished chased part. Some of the shiny points would have been from sanding. You kind of get down to the polished bronze aspect. Not a lot of it would have been that.
And did you pick yourself the different metals that went into making the bronze to have a specific color? Or I know that the zinc
Yeah.
level is different. I mean, are you the one who picks that, or is it the foundry?
The foundry, I think, just did a normal sort of bronze casting for sculpture
Okay,
kind of alloy.
okay.
I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of a standard alloy for
Okay.
casting bronze sculpture. But I worked on the patina afterwards
Okay.
to give it the colors that it has. And that was my choice.
Okay.
Okay, we're welding, welding the books in place. Now, the foliage books, they're all sheet bronze, like 16th inch sheet bronze, which I had a fab shop cut into different size book shapes and then folded them. And then we added another piece in to be the paper part of the book. And so all those were tacked together. Once I'd done all that welding, assembly of the books, then we started to weld them in place. I think I remember correctly, Ken Whiteash. He was, I think that's the chap on the left. He was a local back then, and he helped me on this part. I think that's pretty much the welding.
Question.
Yes.
I didn't see any plans for how the leaves and the branches come out. Did you sort of weld them free form, or did you pre-plan all that as well?
Free form. I didn't really create any branches as such. I just tried to make the books have a little bit of a spin to them.
Yeah.
Spin off the top. Because that would be more chaotic anyway, so that's kind of how I was going.
Yes.
And so, and here so if I understand well, the books at the top, you decided to do a different method of making them rather than like using latex. Again, for the
Correct.
shape, you actually molded yourself the
Yeah, we
bronze.
made them out
Okay.
of thin metal. Had they been cast, it would have been many times heavier and much more
And much, yeah,
expensive.
yeah, okay.
So this was the most cost-effective and weight-effective approach.
So when you're welding these books like this, you make mistakes, you stand back and look at it and say, "Oh, that is what I want, take it apart." put it together.
No, chaos is not a mistake.
It's divine inspiration.
No, it wasn't too difficult to get that going. But after, I think maybe the first or second week, the tree was up, some kids jumped up and broke off a couple of
No.
Oh,
books. And installed.
John, I didn't hear that. What did you say?
After the tree was up maybe 1 week or maybe two, some kids jumped up and hung off at least one of the books and broke it off and bent some, so I had to come in and fix that. And I'm not sure if I replaced it or just straightened them out, cleaned it up. That seems to happen when a new public artwork comes in. Because it's new, people respond. But once it's been there for a while, nobody
It's
sees it.
just, yes.
It's weird how that works. Another shot of constructing it, looks pretty far along here.
Mhm.
Who took these photos? They're nice.
I'm not sure, was that Debbie, or maybe Ken, possibly? Was it you, Debbie?
Well, I mean, you take the majority of them, the ones that you are not in,
Yeah,
because you're a photographer, but,
maybe you.
I bet
took
it was
that.
Ken,
Probably Ken.
yeah, because I was at work.
Yeah, right. Another shot.
And I see you, it seems like you have some maybe ropes, right? Is that like on top here, or is that just I'm not seeing things well? I was wondering if you needed that to like secure.
It's very likely we'd used a rope for some, or the engine hoist for some reason. I don't recall,
Okay.
but I do. We would have carried it outside the studio using the gantry there, yes. I don't recall having to use it for the actual welding because the books weren't that heavy. Okay, we have brought it outside. So now that it's outside, and ready to go, we're going to patina the piece. So what you do is you get a propane torch and you warm it up. And as you warm it up, you paint on a chemical, ferric oxide, I think it is, for the brown. And I can't remember what we used for the green sort of color for the foliage. So here,
You spray paint it or paint it
no,
with a brush?
you paint it with a brush. One could spray it, but then you're making it more of an aerosol. It's better to use a brush, I think. You can see we got a nice green up there on the right. And you see the torch, the fire of the torch.
So you paint first, and then do you have to use the torch right away? Like, is it one book at a time, or?
I think I heat first and then paint on the chemical
Okay,
because it's warm. Then sort of back and forth. And the heat helps cause a chemical reaction with the metal and the chemical. So it adheres better, it becomes more attached.
okay.
Or a part of it. Somehow a chemical reaction, if anybody knows the right word. I think we started at the top and then worked down because I wanted to have the trunk be brown. And so I did the grain first. So this, I got Bushworks to help with the installation. So this is their crane. They came and trucked it down to the site.
How much does it weigh?
Altogether, it's somewhere around 2,000 pounds.
So did you put a hook right in the very middle of it for the balance, pick it up evenly or something?
I think this looks to me like a lifting strap.
Oh, okay.
So it may have come wrapped around the trunk and come up through the inside. Somehow like that. So here we are unloading it. A nice, November day. Cold November day. Oh, for the base, somehow I'd gotten this slab of granite from Georgia. And so I cut 4 book shapes about this size and carved the edges to make them look like the edge of a book, the pages. So that's the base of the sculpture. So we're setting it down on the bolt, the anchor bolts. I think there's 4. And then once we got it set down, then over those anchor bolts, we bolted in place a little stack of books. So the little stacks of books around the base of the tree are covering the anchor bolts.
Is the base attached to the surface?
I think because we have the anchor bolts, they would have gone down into the foundation,
Down into
so that would have come through this stone. So it's held down. Yeah. I'm not sure what we're cutting there, probably trying to make something fit. Might not have fit. There we go. Good shot. So, there's Irwin Abrams, in case anybody who doesn't know Irwin. And Frida, that's Frida. Oh no. Oh, shucks. Well, I wanted to point out the bookworm. It looks like we didn't get in The other, let's see if I can make it work. Okay. This was, our recent snow, the first snow we had. That was a couple of autumns ago. This is the book plate. Acknowledge the book plate.
Is that part of the actual?
Yeah, it's a brass plate that I bolted to that book. And actually, you see that corner there, that left corner? That's where that other book was broken off.
There are also some non-books in the stack, right?
Correct.
There's like those cassette.
Yes, quarters.
There's the treehouse.
Oh, there's a.
What is it? Oh.
Put your cursor on the treehouse, please.
Right.
Oh, right there through there. Oh,
Okay.
So there should be like a.
Is that Dorothy Gale's house?
Seriously?
Yes, there are other things like, this is a VHS cassette. There are some film canisters, there are a number of cassettes. And there's a tape recorder on one side someplace.
Were they part of the original?
Yeah.
Were they part of the original casting, or did you add those on?
Well, when I assembled the books, I put those in. Yeah, today I would include an Apple computer or something, a cell phone, a few other things.
If you really get up close and look at it, it becomes like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Seeing all those different little details.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the ideas, to engage the viewer and make it interesting and worth your time. Enjoy. Hopefully this autumn, we will have some conservation of the sculpture. An outfit coming from Columbus to re-wax it. I don't know if they'll work on the patina, but they'll at least re-wax it.
What does that mean exactly?
Once the patina is on, then we again use the heat and warm it and cover it with a coat of microcrystalline wax. And the wax helps protect the patina. We should have done it 28 years ago, but we're getting it done this autumn.
So will this be the first time it's being cleaned and conserved?
Yes.
Wow, in 28 years?
Yeah, so it's weathered very well. Yes, we have a good patina on it.
And then around the base, I know there are a couple recessed lights that I don't know if they work or not, but
They
I'm
did
curious
originally.
if they'll be rehabbed.
They did originally. Whether or not these folks will deal with that, I don't know. It's, when you have public artwork, the village, the city, whoever is always responsible for the lighting. And of course, that's something that gets forgotten.
Right.
And so it always fails. Michael?
Has anybody perhaps staged a kind of a tandem of a second column made of actual books, and that they do a kind of tango for a short one?
That would be a wonderful idea for a performance, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a great idea. One of my sculptures, maybe a couple of times, I've had sculptures, dancers have done improvisational things around their sculptures. Sort of comparable to that.
Yeah, I was looking for your signature the other day and I couldn't find it.
I'm sure it's someplace.
It is someplace, okay. And I couldn't find a plaque or anything that had your name and the name of the sculpture.
Right, that's,
Is there one on the
isn't there
building?
something on the building?
I didn't find it, but
Did you look on the building?
I just saw the other plaque that's on the bulding, but I didn't see anything
That's
about
not
the
it.
sculpture, so maybe it's somewhere.
Well, maybe we didn't do that. I've been known to forget to do that.
Okay. And I have a question about the patina. When you first do the patina, is the colors of the green, was it like just all the same green and then it's just the weather that adds to the differences in greens or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the weather affects it. Yeah, it kind of depends on each particular part where you put the chemistry on. It may be thick or thin, and so the weather will react in that regard, so it'll always be a little different. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think that's it. Any other questions? Yeah, if you want to keep going, I have other pictures.
Show some more pictures.
Show more.
When there's a,
Yeah, not a question as much as a comment. I think a lot of you are aware that about 2 months as mayor of Your Fair Village, I got a phone call from the editor of Ohio Magazine who wanted to come and interview me and interview Johnny and talk to us because we were in the running for one of the best hometowns in Ohio.
Right.
So when I told Johnny about this, he said, oh, we should take him on a tour in the downtown, a walking tour. So that's what we did. And we started, he and his associate editor came, and we started at the Village Building and walked up one side of the street. And I said, we're taking them to the library because I wanted them to see the Tree of Knowledge. So it was at the Tree of Knowledge that we stopped and I explained your project, John, and they got so into it. They found the tape recorder, they were the detail, and I hadn't looked at it that closely in decades, and the details in that is phenomenal. So anyway, we had to drag them away from there. And we got back, and it was about a week and a half later, we got the call that we were the finalist, and then a week later, we had won for our region of Ohio. That's
The mayor's, John's mother was the first female
Exactly.
mayor.
Jon Barlow Hudson.
That's amazing.
Yes,
You put a twist into the trunk.
Yes.
Is that the same way that Northern Hemisphere trees twist?
The Talpas down on Fairfield and Polecat all have wonderful vortexes in them. And so that's, I think that kind of twists the right that way.
They just have the atmosphere twists in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, so that must be it, because the drain drains differently in South America, so. Michael?
Well, I guess it was just before John piped in his last comment that what defines the twist in trees? Is it the direction?
Fluid dynamics.
What?
That's very simple, fluid dynamics. I'm sure that has something to do with it, because it is an organic, somewhat fluid plant.
So is that then
It's got to have something to do with.
give an
structure.
identity with the rotation of the planet?
It is natural for fluids to twist within that direction.
In this hemisphere.
Coriolis effect.
What's it called?
Chemistry.
I can keep going, or?
Show us more work.
I want to say one thing about, a long time ago, I was at a peace conference in Brisbane, Australia. And I was taking a walk with friends through this was a while after the World, what was it, John?
Expo.
World Expo.
Well, World Expo. Anyway, so we turned a corner and I saw this sculpture, and it was one that John had done. And I got to brag.
Speaking of that, well, I can show some pictures of the exhibit we had here recently, the calm, or something else.
That's great.
Or this is Paradigm, speaking of Australia. Let's try this. Yeah, let's show you this. This is construction. This is okay, there's a big metal fab shop in Dayton called Commercial Metal Fabricators. And so I was commissioned to make 2 big sculptures for Expo. And this is the 100-foot high piece. It's stainless steel, and it's about 8 feet diameter. And we made it in 7 sections and shipped over in those big shipping containers, and then they installed it on site. So this is 1 unit. Each 6 of the units were 13 feet high, and the topmost was 18 feet high. And so this is one of the 13 footers. So the first welder and I, we assembled each one of these, and then that's just the stainless steel sort of shell, or the monocoque structure aspect of it. And then they would lay it, well, I'm not sure if we laid it down, but we would turn it over to the other welders who would install the steel structure inside of it. And then we would go back and start the next one. But before that, we would start the second one off of the previous one, and the next one off of the previous one. And so we built it section by section in Dayton and shipped it over. We never assembled the whole thing. So once it got to Australia, they started putting it together. And I climbed up at the top and sighted down the edges, and it was as straight as an arrow. I don't know how it did it. She had God on her side.
I wonder, I've known you since you were a kid. I wonder if the folks in this audience know how many different countries you have sculptures in.
27.
There
are
That's incredible.
24 throughout China.
One in Saudi Arabia?
No, not Saudi
How many in
Arabia.
Lithuania?
2.
Nice.
Those big, beautiful pieces.
And not to mention the ones you have locally. We have them in the Montgomery County Library, Cedarville College.
I think there's about 24 around Ohio as well.
Correct.
Do they have a book of all your work?
Yeah.
You should have one.
that's a good idea.
That would be nice.
You should have one, because that would be really nice.
Yes,
Maybe so.
John, you can have a booklet that we could check off each country that we visit and see one of your sculptures.
We sure take flow. She wants. So you can see here the internal structure sticking out of these things. This is how they put it in place. So each piece sort of fit together and was bolted together.
And you hadn't put it together until you were in Australia, and it all fit.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That was the best phone call I've ever gotten in my life. I'm not kidding you.
So this is the fab shop. It took about 5 months to build. A huge project.
Is this sculpture still standing or has it been moved?
No, it's still in storage because it's such a big piece, it requires such a foundation that they can't seem to find the right place for it. And also, since the internal structure was mild steel, they stored it for a number of years by the river. And so some of that mild steel is rusted. Plus, they've changed their structural requirement from 150 miles per hour wind load to 250.
Oh, wow.
So you'd really have to redesign the internal structure. So maybe they'll use it somehow at some point. But the second sculpture is in the botanical gardens. These are all the tubes. Well, I'll continue. It's a little hard to make out, but this here and this here, these are the tubes. They just stick out a little bit, but I wanted it to look like the tube went all the way through. And as you see it spirals, the vortex also.
Is that the one that has light bulbs inside?
Yes, yeah, they installed airplane landing lights inside the tubes, and then they were computer controlled. And I believe this might have been a very early public sculpture that had computer controlled lighting. So it was 1988, and computers were just coming out. In fact, my structural engineer at UD did the structural engineering manual. He didn't have a computer.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why he created a monocoque structure. The stainless steel is 5/16. But once he got worrying about it, he asked the newly formed computer lab to run the specs. And it turns out his monocoque structure had 48 feet of deflection.
Uh-oh.
So that's why he redesigned a new internal structure inside the piece, which was an added $20,000. And that allowed it to function. So one could redesign that with today's programs, but the cost of it is considerable too, to do the refurb. So I don't know, they may install it as a horizontal piece someplace. We'll see.
Question.
Yes.
You mentioned the whole physics, you mentioned
Wind load.
Yeah, wind load thing. Is this something that, I mean, for external and outdoor sculpture, that's got to be taken into consideration? Is this something that you always have to work with? I mean, if we have a heavy wind here, will the tree of knowledge blow over?
Yeah, we didn't do that for the tree. I guess I haven't done, I really had to do it for this, obviously, but most pieces are within a size range, 12 feet or even 20 feet. It's not too much of a consideration. But certainly in many projects, one does have to consider that. But there are always structural issues you have to consider because you're dealing with serious weights and then the foundations are structural engineered, like the piece for Athens that was had some good engineering. This is a view from the very top of the sculpture, looking onto the river of Brisbane. I should have taken another shot to the behind me, because that was all the expo. There's welding in the shop. You see the texture on the stainless steel. All of that was manually done with grinders, 2 hand grinders. So I had to hire a bunch of guys to do all that texture and that. Because the surface comes as kind of an orange peel. It's very flat and dead surface. So you have to grind that off and create patterns.
John, did you, I was a few minutes late. Did you talk about kind of how you decided to be a sculptor?
No.
A 3-minute version or something?
Well, I attribute it to, since we traveled so much into the undeveloped countries and we couldn't take very much, we sort of had to build our own toys and be creative that way when we traveled. And then when we come back, Dad had built a house for the family between projects. And so I often got to help him in various ways. So I got used to working with tools and building things and working on big things. So, and Dad was a builder, he's a magician, a violinist, and Mom was a writer and a weaver. So I had good creative influence. So I started with photography, and then got into painting, and then went to the Dayton Art Institute and started making sculpture, and that set me on the path.
You still do jewelry at all? I remember we had a beautiful necklace that was auctioned off at Tons of Land Trust, that my husband got the final bid on. And it was a beautiful piece, but I didn't know if you ever did any more.
I haven't done much, no. A few things, but not much. Maybe I should. That's a good direction to go.
It's very sculptural.
So like a sculpture like this where you say, it's in storage and, I mean, the chances of having it put up again like this is I guess, minimal. Would you consider taking one of your pieces like this one and just, because it's in pieces already, have it, like they could exhibit it as, a section would be actually a work of art, and that would, even though it's not the complete, but it's.
Right. I'd love for that to happen. It's just, I harassed the mayor and folks there for years. And I do have a good friend there, a local who's a philanthropist. He's been responsible for many public historical situations or honorifics, things like that. And he's always been a great proponent. But politicians just don't like to spend money on things that could be questionable to the populace. So he's still working at it, but we'll just have to wait and see how things work out.
Well, they could auction off part, some of the parts that would just, get like keep 2 and then auction off the other one, so at least they could,
That's a great idea. They did have some plans afterwards, like for making it, installing it for a climbing thing.
Oh, yeah.
But then that became a liability.
Yeah.
The last I heard, he was trying to get it involved with a company that was building a big new building of some kind, and that maybe they could put it very close to the building. And so it wouldn't be a structural problem. And that's still maybe in the offing.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
It's a good glass building, it would reflect. Yes, it would.
What are you working on now?
Just small things for myself.
Under 100 feet.
Yeah, you gotta have good funding for that. That was fun about the expo piece. I sent in pictures, waited a couple of months, nothing happened. So I telephoned the guy, back in 1988 or 87, you don't necessarily telephone some creative director on the other side of the world, but I did, and I got him. And he said, can you do this piece 5 meters, the Morning Star? Sure. Can you do this tall piece that he just had a small section of that 100-foot piece as a maquette. He said, could you do that 50 or 100 feet? Sure. He sent me a check for $114,000. We hadn't even signed a contract.
Oh, my. So do you now only work on commission, or do you also produce something that you want to do and then have it on the market?
Yes, I can only build so big, but I'm doing that, and then the smaller things like this. But I've got some medium-sized pieces, you might say, at the studio.
Show them the new one. Same.
It's not on this
Oh, darn.
computer.
Show us another one then.
Well, this one's fairly recent. Okay. I think the big circle one is about 4 feet, stainless steel. And it is the same size and shape as the topmost part of the recent piece for Ohio University in Athens. I made 2 of those so that I could have this one. So what I've done is just suspended temporarily that piece inside of it to see what it looks like. This big piece is my Eidolon series, which I worked on for many, many years. Initially, it started as a planar piece, but I eventually brought it to this linear aspect. And then in looking at another one, I saw within it that linear piece there, the central piece. It is a polyhedron that I looked up polyhedrons as much as I could, and I found one that was somewhat similar, but not quite the same. So I consider this my polyhedron. And so this is the linear version. I have a small stainless steel solid version and then several stone versions. And then I've been playing with that, and one of them even became our memorial stone. So if you are ever down at the graveyard, next to my father and mother is our stone. And it's a beautiful black granite. It's more of an abstract expressionist version of that polyhedron. The one on the left is about 4.5 feet high. It's a black granite from Canada. So that's a big piece that's available. Let's see. I like to photograph them with little maquettes of people, so you get an idea of what's possible. So that's a recent piece that I'm still working on. Okay. Great. Love.
Hi, welcome back. I forgot to introduce Ben Gunther from the local TV station. And Mindy, who is one of my staunch board members. And Ben has copied the whole video, the whole presentation, and it will be available on Channel 5. Is that right? Am I not lying?
Yeah, and it's currently live streaming to YouTube, so it'll live there once it's done.
Right, so if you need to go back and look at this many times, you can. I also forgot to mention, this is what you have when you get old. If you'll notice, all of the artwork on the walls, out in the hall, we have as far as I know, we are the only library in the universe that has a rotating art collection. So if you have a blank wall and you find something you want to put on your wall, go and look in the catalog and see if it is available, and you can check it out for, I believe it's 6 weeks, is that right? Jill?
Well,
She's in charge.
usually, if it's not, if there's not a hold on it, you can keep renewing.
Renewing,
For a
and
long
then when you
time.
get tired, you just come back and get another one. So I think that's all my official duties. So please get up, eat, drink, and be merry. And then we'll all go away. We have to be out of here by 4. If you would like to help with the chairs, that's fine. We just need to move the back row away from the tables. We knew there were going to be a lot of people here, and we didn't want people standing around looking bored. So